the Flesh and Blood playmats have rarity. And I don't know, maybe I'm late to the party. Maybe this discussion was had without me. Maybe Bronson just didn't understand this. But that is where we're going with this. So if you weren't paying attention to the end of the Blitz event, right? It was announced that the final grand prize for guessing the certain matchups and who was going to win and what all that stuff was. The final prize was an Enlightened Strike, the card below, the Enlightened Strike playmat. And I don't know if you were paying attention, but they said there's only 15 of these playmats out in the world. 15. That is such a low number. That is insane. And I don't know if that is like this is like the final number 15. In my mind, what that number represents is the total amount of playmats that have been given out thus far. I imagine that the number of playmats of Enlightened Strike that are totally printed that have yet to be released, we're probably seeing around 50 to 100 range, possibly. I mean, it just seems like it's being like slowly dripped out, so I'd imagine it's like that. But can you guys imagine how low of a print run that is for like the playmats? That's insane. Yeah, I don't know. I'm totally perplexed, and I've seen playmats recently from the Crucible War collection. They're going for $100+ How much is an Enlightened Strike playmat where only 15 were created in the world? That's I don't know. That's insane. So I wanted to talk mainly about that and how ridiculous it is that there are rarities for playmats. And when I say ridiculous, I mean ridiculously awesome. Like, it's a great idea from Legend Story Studios because not only do the cards have collectability, but the playmats have collectability. And that's so cool because playmats, honestly, they're kind of expensive. Like the one that I have that I use, I mean, I think I paid $60. $60 for a piece of rubber with a nice piece of artwork on it. So the fact that I had to pay so much money, it kind of, I was like, but I wanted it because it's really cool. But what's really nice in the back of my mind now is that $60 playmat I bought. Well, what if it's 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of 2,000? We don't know. Will those numbers be released someday? Possibly. Will they not? Possibly. And will they be issued and reprinted? Possibly, because that was like the general playmat for Flesh and Blood. But this goes into more of a theory long term, is that what if all of these playmats that Legend Story Studios makes have like some sort of rarity? Like, you have the common playmat, you have the rare, the super rare, the majestic, and then finally the legendary or fabled playmat. I mean, isn't it kind of interesting how that is? I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think that that is where these products are moving towards, and I'm on board with it. I think it's great. I mean, collectability is so important for a trading card game in general for the cards, but it's nice that it's also bleeding over into the other products. So you have the playmat, those things are now collectible, and then it makes you think with other stuff like these boxes. How many of these were ever printed? I mean, it just makes you think, right? Like, if one thing is collectible, are all the products collectible? And I mean, especially these, these starter decks, how many of those exist? It really makes my mind wonder, and really, it sets a precedent for all those other products that you have and you see that Legend Story Studios makes, is that collectability is their core focus. And to sum this up, I think that the Blitz-a-thon was awesome and the prizes they gave were amazing. And the prize for getting an Enlightened Strike playmat, where only 15 were out there in the wild currently, was such a cool prize to give away. I mean, that's so special to someone who gets it. Well, like, wow, only like 14 other people have this exact playmat. Is such a cool prize. But where that really leads off into questions that I have is that, are all products now like rare in some sort of way? And of course they will. And will those be reprinted in the future? Probably not, because if Legend Story Studios cares about collectability, then if and they say, okay, well, we're only having a certain amount of Enlightened Strike playmats exist now, they're probably not going to reprint it in the future. And what that means long term is that we're going to see other products that they make, and you might not know how many were printed, but there's going to be a hidden rarity, and understanding that rarity is going to be very important, because if you want to sell that playmat or that product, you better know how many were in existence, because if you're holding on to something pretty rare, you might not know it. And it's just a very confidence building thing for Bronson. I have even more confidence now about these products, about what I'm purchasing is going to be valuable in the long term, because they're not going to be reprinted, and it's going to be a specialty item. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.